Welcome back to the Keys to Success podcast. You have your host, Talisa Stubbs, and I have my beautiful co host, Deba Douglas. What's going on, girlfriend?
Nothing at all. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. Got my son back off to school, so that's always nice. Remember how we said we were going to be playing trap music and twerking when the kids left? Oh man, I lost Deba. Deba, remember that?
Yes, I do. And I honestly, my house is so quiet now because everybody's out of here that I'm like, this is so peaceful. Like I actually listen to trap music by myself without my kids like, Mommy, that is bad language. I know, but sometimes mommy just wants to be a little bit of hood, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Sometimes we got to let loose. So
Just a little.
anyhow, today's going to be an amazing interview because we have the Amy Mahjoory, HGTV personality, like mentor to one of the largest private money coaching programs like in the world. Amy, I think so.
I don't know. It's up there. I mean, it's the only one in the US that teaches it the way, we talk about. But yeah, girl, you're too kind. Thank you.
You are so welcome. So, for the audience, for anybody who doesn't know Amy Mahjoory, which you should be ashamed if you don't, but for those of you who do not know Amy Mahjoory, Amy, can you just kind of tell folks who is Amy Mahjoory?
Yes, and you're so funny when you say the Amy Mahjoory. I'm the only Mahjoory, you guys. If there's ever another Mahjoory, we're family. So, yeah, my background's so traditional, just like a lot of other folks. I was raised to go to school and get good grades, and then culturally, we're Middle Eastern, and culturally, my parents hold education in a very high regard. So I had to go to undergrad. It was my choice, but highly encouraged to go to grad school. Like, I'm the only one with an MBA. Everyone else is a doctor, lawyer, or they have their PhD. So I did that, and I hated it. And I worked for Dell Computers for the first 14 years of my career until finally 10 years ago, I decided I was tired of getting Amazon, their replacement hard drive next business day. So I shifted gears, started investing in real estate, and then the rest is history. So
Wow.
that's the version.
Oh, what was that last part, Amy?
But that's the Cliff Notes version.
Okay. I know that's the short version. So, but Amy, okay, so you started in real estate 10 years ago, but I want to kind of dive into that. How were you introduced into real estate investing, or did you come from a background of family members who invested in real estate?
No, nobody did. So for me, I grew up playing competitive sports. I played sports in college, and I'm still super type A, like always have to win. So when I decided I wanted to flip a couple of houses just for fun 10 years ago, I did not know what I was doing. I really was an HGTV junkie. And I was like, I want to go flip a couple of houses. I had no why. I had no family. I really wanted to just make money and blow it on stupid stuff. So I invested in a coaching program. And they taught me everything from building my team, marketing for leads, hiring contractors, and it was amazing. I still owe them to this day for everything that I've learned. But because of me being able to follow a proven system, I ended up buying, renovating, and selling 10 high-end properties my very first year as a part-time brand new real estate investor while I was working my job at Dell. So that was when it became a game changer for me. It was in 2014. I was at Dell for 14 years with an MBA, grossing $87,000 a year. And then my very first year in real estate as a part-time investor, not knowing what I was doing, including some losses I took, I still net north of 120. So yeah, the earning potential was nice, right? But I really at that point had fallen in love with the transformation process.
Wow. Go ahead, Deborah.
I love the fact that you talked about working a job, doing what you felt like everyone was supposed to do, and then you get into and you're like, I hate this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that mindset of you wanting to just jump out and try something different, the emotional, the struggles, overcoming those fears.
Yeah, I still have fear. We all have fear. It's for different things, right? And and that's also a part of the reason why I wanted a coach, right? I had my coach. I had that community back in the day where we were all the same mindset. We all believed in one another. We were all on the same mission. So I didn't know what I was doing, but they did. And 24/7, when I had a question, that fear was no longer an issue because I knew I had somebody on speed dial who I could reach out to 24/7. So I wasn't worried about flipping houses or hiring a general contractor because I knew who to call when I needed help.
I love
Yeah.
that. Getting
Yeah.
connected with people smarter than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I am in Amy's Raising Private Money coaching program, and I can tell you that when I first joined her program, I thought that it was possible to raise private money, but I felt like I would have some barriers and some hurdles. But once you're in a community where multiple people are constantly saying, "Hey, I just raised $100,000. Hey, I just raised $1 million. Hey," and it's just like so casual. It's kind of like it starts to become your reality too. And it doesn't seem like something that's so far fetched. It's something that's very close within your tangible reach. But it's because you have people in that community that are doing that thing. And so, what do they say? If you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth.
Yeah.
I am a strong believer in that, not only just because of what I've seen for other people, but from what I've seen occur in my own life. So thanks for sharing that, Amy.
Yeah, but you're welcome. And you ladies are both right. It's, it's like if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not in the right room, or you are the sum of the five people you surround yourself with, right? But also, I'm at a point now where I'm so tired of convincing people, like, I don't care, don't come into my coaching program. But if you want to be successful in real estate, get a coach. Like, why would you go through YouTube University? I love Bigger Pockets, and all these different websites and all these different strategies when you could just invest in one person, one mindset, one strategy, one system, and have results sooner than later? And 3 years ago, when I started RPM, I tried to convince the entire world, like, why aren't you doing this? Like, I don't understand. Like, it makes no sense to me. And I don't even do it anymore because it's exhausting and I don't care. Go figure it out on your own and get there in 2 years. That's fine too. I'm not being passive.
Yeah. That speaks so much volume because I remember going to Amy's conference that she had in Austin. One of my good friends and I were like, well, let's just going to drive down there. Talisa spoke so highly of you. And we're going down there and we're not really sure what we're expecting. But if you have not been to any of Amy's conferences, you need to go because she is going to put action steps and put you in front of doing the action right then and there. It's not going to be something that you're like, okay, read this when you get home. No, she makes you do things right then and there. And one of my fears that I had, I was like, I don't want to ask people for money. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like. I just like doing my own flips and burrs by myself with my own money. But I was really shocked by one of the action items that Amy has you do in the conference is reach out to people and see if they're interested. And you're not asking directly for money. There's a way that Amy does it, that her special spice of, sauce that she does. And people, like, I did it during the conference and people to this day are still reaching out to me like, Deborah, hey, when are we going to talk about it? Like, what are we going to do? So it works. And Talisa's helped me do a deal where I didn't bring any money to the deal. And she was like, Deborah, why should you do it this way? She showed me exactly what to do. And now I'm flipping the most expensive house that I've ever done. And I didn't bring not a dime to the deal. So it works.
Yeah. And there's enough for the both of you to spread the wealth, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all about just like the right mindset, right? And just if your circles have not already started to shift, to those of you watching, they're going to. And if they're not, then either like you haven't committed to this and this isn't for you, or you're just not in the right like circles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Amy,
Yeah.
talk to us about like you mentioned, bigger pockets, and there's so many different real estate strategies out there. What made you pivot to thinking about raising private money?
Yeah, I know. I suddenly just realized I just rambled and didn't even like fill the sandwich with all of the ingredients. Okay, so this, like, for people who don't like know what I do, so yeah, I have a coaching program. Yes, it's amazing. It's easy for me to say that. It's hyper niche focused on solving the money problem. I'm not going to teach you how to go find deals. I'm not going to analyze your deals for you. I just teach you how to raise private money. I never planned or wanted to start RPM. For the first 8 years of my career, people were asking me for help. They're like, Amy, like, you're so good at raising private money. Will you help me? And I'm like, no, like, I'm busy. That's a lot of work. And no, I don't want to teach anybody right now. I didn't realize we all have strengths and weaknesses. I'm just really good at raising money because the foundation of what I teach is talking to people, building rapport and trust, creative networking. I didn't realize I was naturally good at that. So what happened was 3 years ago, at the height of COVID, um, the entire world is shut down. Me and my husband, Sean, we were speaking a lot on airplanes every other weekend, going to events, coaching and consulting for other companies. And we had a 6-month-old at home, and I was just bored. I was like, babe, why don't I start helping people? I guess they've been asking me for help for 8 years. So I actually invested in a coach who teaches you how to build out a coaching program. And that's how RPM was born. It was September 1st, 2019. I launched RPM. I did a live webinar. And it was crazy because people started to see how simple it is when you have steps and systems and strategies to to have insane results. Like
Yeah.
millions of dollars. All that said, though, there are people who don't do squat because they don't follow the system. But that's really how it started. I was bored in COVID, sitting at home with nothing to do.
Wow. Gosh, that's amazing. Okay, so Amy, so you started your program in 2019 during the pandemic. I don't even know how many students you started off with, but I know that it's grown substantially since then. I know that you've learned a lot since you started this, but one of the things that I wanted to really kind of go over today is talk about some of the failures that occurred along the way just to get here. I
Yeah.
feel like every successful person has had their fair share of failures. I know that I definitely have. And so, what can you share with us about some of those failures and how they have helped to mold you into the person you are today?
Loaded question, which I would love to talk about because this is very important because a lot of people don't talk about the failures. Now, for people who are watching who don't know me, I was heavily and actively flipping and wholesaling in downtown Chicago for the first 8 years of my career. I made a ton of amazing investments, made some poor investments. So, and there's a reason I give you this background story. So, 3 years ago, when I started RPM, this is my baby. This is my number one. I don't need to flip houses the way I used to because of investments that I have made in the past. So, what happened though was in 2017, I ended up losing $1.4 million. It was the perfect storm. I'm not going to go into all the details. It was a saturated market, a terrible general contractor, and then the perfect storm with the timing of when everything hit the market. Also combined with looking back now, I was a little too confident and naive in my deals. And I was doing riskier deals. I didn't think they were risky at the time, but they were riskier deals. I would never do those deals today. So when I lost all that money in 2017, people are like, oh, that's just like LLC money. No, I literally lost $1.4. I had to decide, am I going to file for bankruptcy or liquidate my assets and shift my strategy in real estate, not exit the industry, but change my strategy. So that's what I did. I sold all my assets. I drained my retirement account. I put private money lenders on payment plans. Some people didn't get their interest. Very few got back the majority of their principal. But because of my ability to raise capital, and this is why I'm so passionate about it and so selective about, Talisa, who we bring into RPM, I was able to dig myself out of that hole. Instead of focusing on the luxury markets, I went to low to middle income markets. Still took some losses, but now I'm starting to like make more than I'm losing, right? I was hustling, generating finder's fees for the money I was making, becoming people's capital partners. And I had people calling me back in 2017 saying, dang, I'm so sorry about what happened. So what are you going to do now? You're going to go back to Dell or get a corporate job? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Like, knowing how to raise money is an invaluable skill set. I'm just going to change my strategy.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And now, of course, it's made me more selective, more conservative. But once you know how to make money in real estate, it's easy, whatever that means to you, to rebuild, right? So that's the quick notes version.
I just love your vulnerability. I just love the fact you're just being real. And I love, like, there's so much energy in the room of us talking of like girl power, of like, you know what, real shit happens in real estate.
Yeah.
It really does.
Right.
But we don't have time to sulk about it. We got to figure it out and we move on. But even in those trying times, you've learned what you can do. And like, no matter how bad it is, I have these skill sets of knowing I know how to create my own money. I just got to figure out a different formula, a different way of doing it. But there's something that no one can take from you because of all of the things that you've learned.
Yeah, and what's so crazy, and I know you know this, Talisa, from the training, is back then, I don't remember the exact number, but it was around like maybe 15 to 20 private money lenders who were impacted. 18 of them, so all of them except for two, would call me and cry with me, send me inspirational quotes, text messages, books. But that's because, and that's why the networking is so important and having a follow-up system and overthinking, right? I saw these losses coming 6 months before they actually happened. So I'm like proactively giving them updates. And still till this day, two of them, like, we don't talk and they hate me, and that's fine. If the roles were reversed, I'd probably do them too, whatever. But it's crazy, like, I mean, not really, but like, it's not just raising the money and then walking away. It's like, how do you follow up with them? How do you sustain those long-term relationships? How do you take care of them? Are you going to pay them back if you take a loss? Because if you structure the deals the right way, you don't have to. I didn't have to pay back anyone, but it still bothers me till this day that some people didn't get their 100% of their principal back. Like, and I think maybe that's why I keep talking about it. And I probably am going to do something about it. But yeah, I mean, like, you guys have to decide, for those of you watching, like, what are you going to do? You have to know how to answer the hard questions. People are going to ask you, what if you take a loss? Will you sign a personal guarantee? What happens if you die? Who's going to take over? And there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. And I would say that's probably why I like your program so much, Amy, because you're so micro focused on building that authentic relationship. If I don't take anything seriously from your program, that is the one thing that I take super seriously. When it comes to building that relationship with the private money lender, because in that event that I'm not able to pay you, I would rather have a private money lender who's going to cry with me than make my life a living hell. And there's really no way to ensure that unless you've built that really solid relationship. So yes, I go to church with my private money lenders. We go work out together. We go out to eat together. We laugh. We keep all the things.
Right.
Yes, because at the end of the day, I want that authentic, real relationship. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. It's like, you want your private money lenders to be your friends. Like, you want to, like, go on vacations with them and church and the gym, and like, that's what makes what we do fun, right? Like, I always say, this isn't corporate America. Like, be very selective with who you choose to work with, and you don't need everyone's money. Like, there are people you can respect in a way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so share a little bit about how has private money and the people that you get the private money from, how has that changed your life and their lives?
Yeah, I mean, so when you know how to explain to somebody like a private money lender, here's why I leverage private money. It's because I can take on more than one project at a time, or more than one investment strategy, or I'm not going to get limited to the funding that a bank will give me, or even a hard money lender. Access to private money allows me to put in competitive, quick cash offers. When you can explain what's in it for us as investors, and then what's in it for the private money lenders, such as double-digit returns or the protected, secured, and insured assets, which are things they do not get in the bank or the stock market. It's lack of education. So as you educate them on who you are and what you're doing and what the different controls are that you have in your business, it's going to build their confidence in you over time, not over one phone call, right? And then they're going to understand that, oh, putting your money in the bank, even though that's what we were raised to believe in, is not the solution to building long-term generational wealth.
Mm-mm. No.
Right.
Can you expand a little bit about that? Because I think a lot of people are fixated, especially our middle class, fixated on if I just save money for a rainy day and I just have it in my savings account, the market is going down. I don't want to put it in real, like, what are those? What would you tell someone?
Oh God, do not let me mentor your children. So I do not believe in a rainy day fund. Like there is no, I don't keep money in the bank. Anytime I accrue chunks of 25,000, I reinvest it in real estate. Maybe that means lending it to a credible real estate investor or using it as a down payment on a single family home that I'm buying as a rental property. Or maybe I save up 50,000 and I go invest it passively in a commercial syndication. So to me, if I need money and there's an emergency, I just sell a property. Like I'm not going to keep money in the bank, right? If I always
Yeah,
tell private money lenders, which is funny, I don't expect them to know this, but hey, private money lender, take out your phone and Google, what does a bank do with my money? And then read
they
it out loud.
reinvest.
Exactly. Banks use our money to invest in businesses and real estate. So private money lender, I'm giving you an opportunity to be the bank. So it's education, right? Like you
Yeah,
ladies know this, and this is why the three of us are so confident when it comes to speaking on this topic because we have the knowledge and education.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't rainy day funds don't exist in my world.
Yeah. And you know what? I was actually going to make a post. I'll post it tomorrow, but I was just reading something on LinkedIn that millennials, a lot more millennials are giving higher contributions to their 401ks, higher contributions than like we ever did when we were working in the corporate world. And because they think that that is the end all be all, that if they save up enough money, they will be able to retire at 65. And so I'm like, how do I get to these millennials while they're, still building and get them over to the other side.
It's crazy. So Talisa, you probably already know this because you're crushing it, but like in module 3, Sean gives us 2 presentations, right, on 401ks and how traditional custodians screw us on our annual fees. So take those videos and those presentations and just use them at your seminars.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Amy.
Yeah,
Thank you for reminding me about that.
but it's crazy. The fees we pay are insane. It doesn't make sense to max out a 401k with a traditional custodian when if you're unemployed or working for yourself, you can hold it with a passive custodian, pay $400 a year, and that's it for them to manage your money, and then you can go invest it in real estate.
Right,
No penalty.
Boom.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, go ahead, Deborah.
So if somebody wants to invest in a deal with Amy, how do they do that? Is that even a thing?
Yeah. Okay. So look, I always say I'm so good at raising money. I'm terrible at everything else, including marketing and promoting myself. So, yeah, it's a thing. I just now, 10 years in, created an opt-in page for private money lenders. So for anyone who's serious, don't go opting in because like I actually call you. And I'm like, give me your money. I'm kidding. That's not how it works. But if you just go to privatemoneyreturns.com, then you can opt in. I will personally receive an email notification and call you. So don't do it if you're not serious. But when you opt in, you get one of my general overviews on what the process looks like at a super high level. And then I'll take you through a series of phone calls and meetings and we'll see if it's a good fit. But that would be step one, privatemoneyreturns.com.
Nice.
Privatemoneyreturns.com. Okay, that's good. I have a question, Amy, and I feel like a lot of people want to know this because your skin is always glowing, your body is banging. Girl, what is your morning routine? What does that morning routine look like? What do we all need to be doing every morning to get like this?
Girl, ladies and gentlemen, I am the worst person in the world. Like, I'm not going to say it's all genetics, but it's like 50-50 genes. And I work out. I do not have a morning routine. Like, our whole family, nobody wakes up before 8 a.m. I don't meditate. I don't work out consistently. I had a bag of chips for lunch. Now, I'm not, if Maurice is watching this, he's going to be really mad. I'm not proud of that. So thank you. I've worked out my whole life and I still do work out, but I'm not consistent with anything in life. So that's a problem. But yeah, I'm like the Hormozis. Layla and Alex Hormozy shared a video not too long ago saying, look, by the time all these entrepreneurs get through their morning routine, it's 11 in the morning. Like, just get up and do what you need to do.
Right. Or you need to start at like 4 o'clock in the morning before the world wakes up.
Yeah.
That's me.
I have no schedule. I have no routine. It's actually why I hired a business coach, is to like get my life in order.
Well, Amy, you do it so effortlessly. So, girl, kudos to you.
Thank you.
What was okay? So, Amy, you have a big conference coming up, a huge conference in Austin in November. You've got some heavy hitters coming. Vina Jetty's gonna be there. What's Rob's last name? I always forget his last name. Rob
Abasolo, Robuilt from Bigger Pockets.
Oh my God. It's going to be lit. So can you tell the audience about the conference, what to expect, and how can they register?
Yes. It's amazing. I'm super excited. As you know, Talisa, this is my third conference, which is a 2-day conference. It's the first one we're hosting in Austin. And it's cool because the common question I get is, many viewers know I host a 1-day workshop, but it differs because at my conference, it's not me and Sean and a bunch of speakers preaching at you where you take a bunch of notes and put them away and never read them again. On day one, it's all implementation. So our conferences, we cap the attendees to 200 attendees, and everyone will be interacting with each other, implementing exercises. They'll do some investor outreaches. We'll be doing stuff on social media. So the implementation strategies will vary from the 1-day workshop. So that's pretty cool because we will be raising money together on day one. I'll be there. Talisa, I don't even think I told you, if you're going to be there, you're going to be coaching and helping in the room. So hopefully you're going to be there.
All right. Whatever you say, ma'am.
Facilitating all the newbies, right, who don't know what's happening. And then on day 2, that's when we're going to have all of our guest speakers talk to everyone about, all right, now you know how to start raising money. Here are the do's and don'ts. Here's how you shift with the economy. Here's how you can, Vina will talk to you about how you can invest in multifamily. Nick McGrew will talk to you about what type of, securities regulations we need to be compliant with. Because we don't always need to have a fund in place. Mark Kohler will talk to you about your entity structure and having I have it right here, your business trifecta set up. Rob Abasolo will talk to you about how he used private money to, grow his short-term rental portfolio. We'll have some RPMers there as well. So it's going to be pretty cool. Zasha Smith from Hawaii is going to be talking to you about how she's raised over $7 million just on social media. She doesn't have a fund. She's not working with a securities attorney. So, and Talisa, you know this, there is a right and a wrong way, right, to raise money on social media. But it's cool because this is the first conference where the speakers are also going to be giving you an implementation bit with their segment. And then they're going to stick around all weekend. They're going to be interacting. So they're not going to like hide away in the green room. You'll be able to, they're accessible. You can talk to them, collaborate with them. So it's going to be really cool. You know, Talisa, it's like a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have early bird pricing, which is still good through September 4th. So 2 weeks, you guys, you can register at raisingpm.com/live event. And it's also in my Instagram bio, my LinkedIn bio. It's like the only link you should see, but we'd love to have you guys there.
Oh, that's amazing. You guys, there are not, I don't know of very many conferences where every speaker is interactive, like engages the audience, like you guys are taking action steps, like during the session. So this is an opportunity that you don't want to miss. Amy, I don't know when your next conference is going to be, but I could imagine that after every conference, the price is going to continue to climb. So y'all better get in while you fit in, because Amy's about to, Amy's going to increase those prices.
And let's talk about that actually, because you're right, I am. And I think Talisa, out of the three of us, you probably are the only one who knows this, but it's not about like taking your last dollar. RPM it's a very intimate community. It is 350 investors all over the world, and I don't allow everyone in. I will not take your $7,500 if you're not a good fit, because that's not fun for me. I don't want somebody to come into the program and not going to take action, because now my systems don't work, right? So and so we purposely are going to keep increasing pricing. I actually haven't even announced this yet, but October 1st, RPM is going up to $10,000. And that's because we want to weed out the people who aren't serious. And if you're serious, come on, let's crush it together. And if you're not, that's okay too.
Yeah. So, Deba, I know Deba can relate, because Deba's coaching program is growing just the same, and she's having some of the same conversations.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah. But y'all need to go to this conference, and I'm literally going to see if I can come or my husband can come, because just my one-day conference that I went to with Amy, I mean, it has really changed my life. And then connecting with Talisa, it definitely has made a difference for me, for sure.
Yeah, and for you, if you can only come to one day, come on day 2. So then you can meet all the speakers, right? And like collab with them. But yeah, I didn't meet your husband. So it'd be great to have one or both of you there.
Right, for sure.
I'm trying to recruit him onto the program, Amy.
Yeah, he is coming. It's just, we got a bunch of kids, got a lot going on, trying to get our lives together.
No, I get it. And that's why I was like, I was going to do it during the week, but then I'm like, no, let's do it on the weekends, because some people have jobs, and, you know, but then I know the balancing act with family. So I totally get it.
Well,
okay,
Amy,
I have one question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Talisa.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask Amy one more thing. If you could tell 18-year-old Amy, if you could give her one piece of advice, what piece of advice would you give her?
Oh man, I was so immature back then, which is why I am so impressed when I see people in their 20s get into this industry. And it goes back to, I love my parents. They just kept pushing me down one path, which was school. I'm not saying you need to know what you're doing at 18, but if you think you're passionate about something, get a coach. Again, don't hire me. I don't care. But get a coach, even as a hobby, because if you focus on doing something you love, you will figure out a way to make money off of it and turn it into a business if you would like. But yeah, for real estate investing, I always say I wish I would have started sooner. Like I started at 34. I wasn't mature enough to start when I was younger. That's why I was blown away when I saw your reel today, Talisa, that you're 34 with an MBA and 2 teenagers. I'm like, I was like dancing on bars, like in a non-union. For real. I have no business.
I never got an opportunity to dance on bars, Amy. I'll have my time. My kids are almost grown now. I'll have my time.
Sorry, Mom. My mom watches this stuff. Like, that's a whole other story.
Oh my goodness.
And so, Amy,
okay, go ahead,
tell us, if people want to get in contact with Amy, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, the best way is just through Instagram. I'm all there all the time. I don't ignore anyone. I respond to every question. So you guys have questions. I post so many videos on there. And now we're expanding like the topics that I'm talking on, all about, private money. I'm giving you guys strategies right from our coaching program. So connect with me on Instagram. If you have a question, send me a DM, and better yet, just come to the conference in November in Austin.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'm just going to mention this last thing and then we're going to go. Amy, you are going to be having an offering for people who do want to consume your content, who don't necessarily want to join your program. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to?
No, not yet.
You like it's still in the works.
Offline. Because we're still like finalizing what that's going to look like. And so no, but thank you. But we will roll it out in the next week or so. So connect with me on Instagram because we're going to announce it there.
You do not want to miss it. You do not want to miss it. So connect and subscribe and like whatever Amy's doing on Instagram. Follow her on Instagram.
Oh,
yes. Awesome. Well, this was an amazing episode. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today and just for being so real and authentic. Deborah, my co-host, you already know, you my girl. You guys, please, if you like this episode, feel free to like, subscribe, comment. Tell us what else you guys are wanting to see, and we will see you next week. Bye.
And thank you, ladies, too. I love what you're doing. So thank you for having me.
Aw, thank you, Amy.
Bye, ladies.